What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to my channel. It is the day following our road trip to Port Augusta to pick up this 2017 Streetbob. We got it home yesterday, gave it a bath, threw a battery in it, and it fired up first pop. How good's that? Gotta love it. Now we're into the shed to do a bit of a damage assessment and to start repairing some of this front end. I'm just throwing it up on some axle stands here using the crash bar. I've got a bike lift, but it's in the background being used by another bike, and as most of the damage is in the front end in the first instance, we'll get that fixed and then we can put it on the ground. Anyway, we'll have a look at what we've got going on, what we've got to fix, and yeah, start doing it. Let's go! Righto, so a bit of an assessment on this 2017 Streetbob in denim black. This thing's pretty good. Yeah, fired up straight away. It's done like just over 8,500 Ks. After speaking to the guy who owned it, I believe it's had its second service, but I'm just waiting to get hold of the books and things like that for it. So we'll have a look at that once I get all that gear. As far as damage goes, what I've found so far, there's obviously this front end, the tubes are bent. Unfortunately, the sliders have taken a bit of damage as well from the buckled rim. I thought it might have just been a case of replacing the tubes, but yeah, I'm going to need to replace the sliders. There's a little bit of a scuff on this one. Well, it's a little bit. Yeah, it needs replacing. On the bar in there, there's a bent clutch lever. Mirror needs replacing. Rear shock has a little cosmetic buckle in the top cover, so I'm going to replace that, and obviously need to find a front wheel for it. Look, godsend taking this wheel with me yesterday to pick the bike up, because if I didn't have that, it certainly wouldn't have rolled into the trailer, and I had to push it. So yeah, when we picked it up, it was on accessories. The battery was dead, so without having anything, I probably could have jumped it off my car, but didn't really want to do that. Yeah, so having this wheel there, and also the guy who let us use the forklift to give the front end a bit of a lift while I changed it over, rather than leaning it over on the crash bar. Yeah, that was pretty handy as well. So everything worked out pretty well yesterday. As far as what I'm going to do, look, I've got a 2015 Streetbob as my main ride, so I bought that brand new. So I've got the takeoff standard pipe, I've got the takeoff standard bars, I've got rear shocks, I did a twin disc conversion on that, and I used fat bob blowers. So I've got fork sliders because there are different size hole for these guard holes here. Their spacing's a bit different. So I replaced both of my lowers for that. I've got everything to get this thing in a position to be able to be inspected without having to spend basically any money, apart from chasing down a front wheel. I'm going to put some wanted ads out later. I know someone who's done a few front end conversions on some of these bikes recently, so I'll hit him up too and see if he's got any spare wheels floating around. If not, yeah, it shouldn't be too hard to find a Y wheel. I know lots of people like doing mag conversions, and there should be something floating around. Anyway, I'm sure if you've seen any of my other videos, I can talk for ages. I'm going to stop doing that now and start pulling this thing apart. Right, so the damage on the slider, this one's not too bad, it's just got a little scrape, that's purely cosmetic, that's on the outside coating there, but this one here is copped it a bit, so unfortunately can't reuse it. which sucks because it's not that bad. But it's too bad to reuse, definitely. Guys, especially in Australia, don't like the club style dyno thing, and especially don't like crash bars and that, but yeah, something's got to be said for saving your whole bike for the cost of just replacing one of these end sliders. Is that part of the front end rebuild? Fork time. I've already done one of them, and I've done other dyno ones before and never had as much trouble as I had with the soft tail, if you saw in my other video. So yeah, did one, had no hassles. So hopefully it's a lot more straightforward and goes easier than the soft tail. I've already done the worst of the two. They're not that bad. It's just like a minor bend in the tube and couple of gouges on the lowers. So I got new lowers, I got new tubes, all the rest of the stuff inside is going to be fine. It was barely bent, but yeah, a bent fork's a bent fork, so won't muck around any longer. We'll get stuck into it. When I arrived at my dad's this morning to do some work on the bike, he mentioned to me that he actually might like to keep this bike for himself.
Thanks for your dad.
I will. So I guess just like that, this has now become my dad's bike. We'd always said building these bikes that if one came along and either of us wanted to keep it, we'd just keep it. Obviously I built the Deluxe for myself. This bike came up. Being that it's a 2017, only a couple of years old, got the history of it, got the books, got everything else for it, and it was in pretty good nick. It hadn't had too much of a bad crash. It was a bit of a no-brainer to keep this one. So yeah, I get to build a Harley for my dad. That's pretty cool, I think. When it comes to Dad's style of bike, he's definitely more of what you'd call a traditional Harley sort of look guy. So these club style bars have to go. I had to take them off to put the stock bars on anyway for the inspection. And it just so happens that Dad liked the ape hangers, which is great for me because it meant that I only had to wire the bars once rather than wire the standard ape hangers and then put something else back on after. So I was pretty happy about that. Just finishing up wiring the bars on this one. We also decided to throw on a set of underperch indicators, which I haven't put on yet. And that's pretty much it. It's ready for a shakedown ride. I did get a front wheel, a second-hand one, and a tyre. Just forgot to film putting that on. But yeah, she's pretty much ready to go. There's a few things that I need to change for the inspection, but I'm not going to show myself taking parts off and putting them back on again just for the sake of it. So give it a final button up and take it out for a test ride. Alrighty, now for a little shakedown ride. We've been through the inspection process and got it home. Dad's put on a couple of things. We upgraded the headlight, obviously put the exhaust back on it, but yeah, it rides really nice. Yeah, beautiful bike as you'd expect from, you know, a couple of year old bike. It's just nice to ride. He's going to love this. He's going to have lots of fun putting some Ks on this, I reckon. So we'll go for a squirt, take it home and hand Dad his new bike. So this is Dad's bike. He did a few extra mods to it himself, chucked the fairing on it. He made his own tool roll and stuff just to keep some spares on it. Put the thrashing bags on it, and the progressive suspension. He, yeah, loved clocking up Ks on this thing, and he was probably out riding his bike more than I ride mine. Yeah, absolutely loved it, and it was a real source of enjoyment for him. Unfortunately, at the start of last year, we unexpectedly lost Dad. Yeah, it was a real big shock, and it was a great loss. It's been really hard to put this video together, just going through all the old footage and us building this thing to exactly how he wanted it. Yeah, it's been tough, so that's why it's taken a little while for me just to be able to, I guess, mentally process all of that. Yeah, so anyway, Dad's bike lives on with me, and take it out and ride it on Father's Day and on Dad's birthday, which was Christmas Day. So here in Australia, they're both spring and summer. So yeah, get some good weather and get out on his bike and remember the good times riding with him. Yeah. Anyway, it's been tough to put it together. I lost some footage in there in the middle because of all of the moving and whatever. I don't know if I lost an SD card or something, but I think it was when we were getting the front end together of the wheel and all the rest of that. So it is what it is. It wasn't a real lot of work to do on this bike to get it back on the road. But it was really great to be able to do it all with Dad. So yeah, anyway, I'll wind this one up here. Cheers, Jim. Rest in peace. I hope you're putting down some Ks wherever you are. Cheers.